Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they never ever mind and they beeswax. I don't ever cap, but I'm wearing like 3 hats. Never been a rat, but I know where the cheese at. You'll never get a trophy cause they all here where we at. You better believe that. When it's all said and done, I'll still be here standing. Never took a loss and it ain't something that I'm planning. I dare you to say something, my focus is A1. Every dog has his day, it's been mine since day one. This is real grinding, I'm still climbing. While you still trying, I'm still shining. It's real blinding, and I'm getting hotter too. Talking top 2, I'm not a 2. You let the pressure bother you and I do what I gotta do. Let's go hard.
Making this play right here, boys. Want the baseball. Who wants the baseball right here? Come on, Brayden. Let's party. Hey, this is what we do. Let's go, boys. Go get him. Let's go.
All right. Hey, everybody. We are live. Hey, can you fix my camera a little bit? That's the one thing I forgot to do. What is up, everybody? Yeah, just turn it. Yep. And then you may need to zoom it out just a little bit. Just twist the barrel. Yeah, right there. That's good. Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Look at you. Already a professional. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Coastal Stars podcast. We got some good stuff in store for you. You notice that is the countdown. It's probably the last time you're going to see that countdown because we got some new material that we are working on. I didn't have a chance to go through much of the footage, but we got some really cool footage this weekend in particular. Not only was I doing the normal stuff on the camera, but we had Mark and Mark Jr. as umpires.
Oh, yeah.
Probably some of the
this yet.
Yeah, probably
How's
some
the
of
footage?
I looked through. I kind of scrubbed through some of it. Looks pretty good. I haven't gotten into the nitty gritty of like seeing what they got and what they like didn't get. But I'm pretty sure there's some cool stuff in there. So I'm looking forward to sharing what I find. I'm gonna go through that footage tomorrow. So yeah, let's get into some updates that are coming down the pike. Also, please let us know if you can hear us good, if we need to adjust anything by, just giving us a quick comment.
Yeah, let's get some people in the chat.
Yeah.
Let us know who's watching. We got like 20 people watching. So what's up, guys?
Yeah.
We're back on a Monday night.
We're back to regularly scheduled programming, right?
Yeah, that's right. We're back.
I feel like the last 3 weeks have been kind of a whirlwind. Just with us managing stuff at PBR and then coming back, getting ready for Scout Day, battling a little bit of illness as well.
Full disclosure, there will be some coughing during this podcast from probably both of us. So we're both in recovery. Looks like we got Quentin
Peterson. I think that's Big Q.
That might be Big Q.
Yeah, because I always remember the little purple icon is always right. Big Q. But yes. Really cool stuff. So stick around till later because I got some clues on a new show that will be launching here pretty soon. But yeah, Justin, let's get into some updates. First of all, that is not what I wanted. There we go. What we got here?
Look at that. Yeah, we got some tryouts coming up. So the tryouts are for new players. If you guys are on a team right now, you don't have to come to the tryouts. So I've sent that out a few times already. I know I've posted it in the player group meet. Excuse me. I sent it out in emails too. But yeah, we got tryouts tomorrow and Tuesday the 17th. doing some nighttime tryouts. So I've already got 15, 20 people
Oh, wow. That's
who've kind of pre-registered for those 2 dates. So if you guys want to play in the fall, returning players, the registration stuff is open. So you guys make sure you get that done because we got some new players who are going to come try out. So we'll be offering spots to guys this week for the fall, new players who want to come play. So
yeah. Also, if you have any buddies that, can play a little ball and that are interested, need a team, have them reach out to us, have them come to one of the tryouts as well. Always looking for, pitchers. As the saying goes, you can never have enough arms. So be sure that you're sharing. Remember, that is not only tomorrow, this Tuesday, but it's also next Tuesday as well. Both at DBAT Warner Robins, correct?
Yep.
Warner
cool. Robins the next 2 Tuesdays, tomorrow and next Tuesday.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool. All right, let's check into some comments. We got Caden Hogan in the building. Got our fearless leader, TJ, in the building.
Trent in the
Hey,
chat.
make sure y'all are liking for the algorithm, sharing this with your teammates, family, and your friends. Also, Will Ayers in the building. Shout out to him.
What up, Will?
So, yeah, let's get back into it. So, let me make sure I've got the right. Nope, that's not the right one. There we go. All right. So, we got some shout outs here. So, shout out to CCA. Did I say that right?
That's
CCA?
right,
CCA. Yep. Boys, we got several guys on the team that play with us currently and that have played with us in the past. So Gray McLean. Who else on the team? Luke Russ, Jonah Hall. We had Landon. Williams.
Landon Williams
in the
Jonathan
fall.
Rutland.
And Jonathan Rutland.
So, yeah.
So shout out to those guys. Winning state. I'm glad y'all won state, but I'm even happier that y'all get to come play for us because they had to miss the first basically 2 tournaments because I don't know why private school started so late. It seems like it's never gone this late.
I think it was a little bit later this year than it normally was. Sometimes they are later, but yeah, super late this year. But congrats to those guys. That was awesome. We were following. They played well, and they took care of business.
Yes.
Good stuff.
So, yep, shout out to those guys. Also in the news, we got Carter Lee, one of my players, currently on my team, also played for me this past fall, making the all-state team for private school GIAA. So congrats to Carter Lee and putting together a pretty good summer season so far, even though he's had to miss due to vacation. And he was also playing a little bit into that first tournament.
That's right.
As well, because his team.
He hasn't even got to pitch for you yet, has he?
No, he hasn't thrown an inning.
So you're looking forward to that this weekend, probably.
Yeah. So again, you never have too many arms. But yeah, that's what we got coming down the pike. So yeah, let's get into some season recap. So Justin, we are on technically our 4th event, 5th if you want to count practice, but 4th event where at-bats have counted. So we had the inter squads, we had both PBR tournaments, and we just had Scout Day, which for the first time we made it competitive and we, counted the stats, unlike in the past where it was just more of a, let's just, perform for the scouts. And I think that really led to it being one of the probably the cleanest Scout Day inter squad that we've had. Not only do we have, I think, better players, but the fact that, we were like, hey, stats are live. I think kids were still really caring about like, hey, let me see, if I have a big day here, I can, climb up the ranks.
Yeah, for sure. And it helps when you post the stats in the dugouts.
Before the
kids,
absolutely.
Before they play. That was one of the things we did was we posted all the stats. So all the teams have leaderboards. And we'll be talking about this a little bit later. But, the stats that we're keeping for our offensive stuff, like they want to be number 1 on their team.
Right.
And we'll talk about that some more later. But yeah, it definitely matters. And it definitely, gives them something to play for. So really cool stuff there. We'll talk, some more about it here shortly, but yeah, we kept the stats. And so they're starting to compile. And, as coaches, it's really important for us because it helps us make decisions, right? When it comes to writing the lineups and figuring out, who's really struggling with what, like, why are we striking out so often, all that good stuff. And we were just looking at it, and it's funny because when we hit 300, we win. And when we hit $180, we lose. It's just funny. Like the games that we've won, obviously we've hit well. The games we've lost, we haven't. So
it's such a simple formula, but hard to execute, right?
It is. Hitting is the hardest thing to do in sports, man.
No, absolutely. I think, bar none. That's a round ball, round bat. It's physically and the physics don't even match up. So, but yeah, so talk about just, how the season's gone. And then we'll pop up some players to talk about from each team, some of the top hitters. And I got some of their stats pulled up. Also, before we even get into that, just circling back to Scout Day, we posted the stats in the dugout, and I actually explained the stats to a couple of the college coaches, specifically the North Georgia coach, who, if you haven't known, the North Georgia coach that was there when I played, retired this past year, and the new regime that just moved in is old Georgia college coaches. So Cal knows them very well, and I know them pretty well, just from my interactions. And I was talking to the assistant coach, KC, really cool guy, and he was like, "Hey, what is this carry stuff? What is this?" And I explained pretty much everything. He was like, "Man, that's awesome." And he was looking, at the list of some of the players. So, yeah, this is why we put the stuff together for you guys so that we can better communicate to college coaches, and even some of the college coaches understand and are, starting to, get to know the lingo of, how we, grade performance here at the Coastal Stars.
Yeah, that's
really
super cool. I didn't know you had that conversation with him, but another conversation I had with Casey was we need to get him on the podcast.
Yeah,
so he was like,
absolutely.
Let me know.
Yeah,
get
for
him on
sure.
the podcast. We'll get some college coaches on here. I think that'd be great. And it'd be perfect for some of the stuff we're talking about tonight.
Absolutely.
In the later segment, you see here on the bottom of the screen, college recruitment is coming up. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, definitely getting a college coach on here in the future.
Yes.
I know several of them. I played with the Georgia Southwestern recruiter who was there, Jordan Barrett. He was a former teammate of mine. So I hit him up. He's recently gotten that job at Georgia Southwestern, and he'd probably hop on the podcast too.
Yeah, Peach Belt, and Peach Belt's some really good baseball. D2, and a lot of, D1 guys that, don't get many opportunities at like even like the SEC schools. We had a couple kids from UGA when I was playing that transferred in and came in and were impact players. So like it's not just like, you don't want to think D2 like throw it by the wayside. I know everybody wants to go to the big schools that play and that are about to play in Omaha, right? But you got to kind of understand the player that you are and then go to a school that's going to be your fit, right? Because even if you do get offered by some of these big schools, it's kind of a waste if you go there just to go there and you don't get the experience of actually playing and developing as a baseball player to be the best that you can be and to take your career as far as you can. It's far more fruitful to, go somewhere where you fit, where you can be an impact guy right away or after a year or two and really develop your skills and see some good playing time rather than just riding the bench for 3 years.
We'll talk about that here in a few minutes. That's one of the things in the recruiting guidelines is like you have to go where you can play. Right.
No, absolutely. So before we jump the gun a little bit.
Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're getting ahead.
PBR tournaments. How did they go?
Yeah, so I mean, we went up there for the first one, that Memorial Day one, and across the board, man, we were playing some stout competition.
Yeah, I think that was the deepest talent pool, because we've played in that tournament every year that I've been here, and it's never been that loaded. A lot of times, a lot of those big teams start, 2-3 weeks later, and it seemed like they were just like, "Hey, we're ready. We're ready to go."
Yeah. So we played some tough teams, and there were still some great individual performances. There were some great players. We had some good offensive numbers from several guys. But really, it was tough, especially because some of the arms we faced. Like we were talking about the 16 Premier team and some of the the pitchers that they had to face, and man, it was just tough on those guys. They had an 8 a.m. game and they were seeing 86, 88.
Yeah, just like the crust isn't out of their eyes.
Yeah. They hadn't even woke up yet, and they're late on the fastball.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was good. It was a good first tournament because I think a lot of the guys kind of were like, "Whoa."
Yeah,
this is what we're up against. Like in these, that's why we're up there. That's why we play in those tournaments, because it forces you to be exposed to the best.
Right.
And so regardless of whether or not we win or lose, the fact is, if you watch the best and if you study the best and if you learn to compete against the best, you're going to get better. And then the second week, we did get better. We went back up there the second week and we improved. We won games at each age group. And I haven't figured this puzzle out yet, but somehow your team, the team you were with on the last day, tied both games.
Yes.
So that
well,
that was
all right. So
interesting.
it was weird. So
we don't have to get into it.
no, I'm not going to get into the details, but like the first game we had, because we combined the 26 teams. The first game we had a good combination of each team, and the second game it was like a spur of the moment. Other team just backed out. Can y'all fill in? And I asked the guys like who can stay. Of course, more hands went up than the people that can stay. I should have said, hey, go ask your parents.
Right.
Didn't happen. And so we had 9 guys and we had 2 POs playing in the field.
I love it.
And I was like, oh boy, let's just try not to get run ruled. Bo Greer's in right field, Finn Hawks batting 9 hole at first base, and we tied. So I think that's a win in our book for sure. But yep, and then that led into Scout Day, which we just mentioned, one of the cleanest Scout days. I want to get into some individual performances though. So we have Jonathan Turner, who is leading the program right now. He is number 1
The new
ranked.
number 1.
Yeah.
Sorry, Connor Price.
Yeah. Sorry, Connor Price.
Struck out twice at Scout Day, buddy.
Yep. But Connor Price still in the
Still
2.
number 2.
That's just how dominant that he's been because
good,
he
man.
struck out twice, didn't have a good day at Scout Day, is still second ranked player. But yeah, Jonathan Turner batting 500, absolutely crushing it right now. 60% quality at bat, 93 carry. Can't say enough good things about him. Just always gets in there and scraps. Next guy that we got is Janoris Reeves. Already tripled twice, hit one probably 95 in the gap at PBR. Got to see him run for days. Come to Scout Day.
Does the same thing.
Almost looked like he was full. It felt like he swung with one hand and still just destroyed that baseball.
Yeah.
And then, anytime he hits the ball in the gap, you can bet he's thinking 3 out of the box. Another guy on the 26 Premier is Mr. Christian Hewitt. Didn't have the best Scout Day. I know he was, disappointed in himself, but he's still in that 4 spot overall in the program. And he's one of those guys, right, who came. I think he was with us last summer, right? Is when he started, right? Or maybe even before that.
The fall before that, maybe.
Maybe the fall before that, right? But he's one of those guys who, Stevens County, you go up to PBR and now you're seeing probably some competition, at least on average, that's higher than the competition you face on a day-to-day basis. And he's one of those guys that have massively improved from season to season. And now he's just, more a juggernaut, one of the guys that we just rely on, always at the top of the lineup. So that just goes to show you that, maybe you're not seeing, the highest level competition in your area, but you got to play, summer ball. And this is why we have our program and why we play in these tournaments, because you need that exposure to get better, to, test your skills, so that your iron is sharpened. And then as you see more, you get better and better, and then you're able to get seen, right? And Christian Hewitt's one of those guys that is definitely going to get seen, and no doubt he'll be playing for a college program at some point in his career. So
he's done great.
Shout out to him. Now moving on to my guys, 26. We got Trace Harold with the old Coastal Dan. I don't have a picture of him quite yet. He's managed to escape.
He's been elusive.
Yeah, he's managed to escape every media opportunity in the past 2 years. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I can't believe it. But yeah, he's just been one of the most reliable guys. He gets on base. He hits the ball hard and sneaky. He's not the fastest guy in the world.
No, he's
but
an athlete.
He can just vault and time up the pitcher, and he's saved by a mile a lot of the time. So really good, high baseball IQ.
Yeah, he's hitting 364 with 61% quality at bat percentage on the year. So he's done really well. He's in the 12th spot, I think, program wide right now.
Right. Yeah. So shout out to Trace. Another guy on my team, Caden Hogan.
13th spot. Yeah.
13th spot. And the guy he just gets on base. He just has quality at bats. I think he's top 3 in the program as far as quality at bats are concerned. He gets on base. He grinds out at bats. I think he's been in more 3-2 counts than anybody in the program.
66% quality at bats.
It's unbelievable.
Boy, Hogan.
He just scraps out at bats. And that's that Stevens County mindset. We just talked about Christian Hewitt. And Caden's another one of those guys who's just I'm just going to get in the box and I'm just going to, give it my all. I'm going to be a tough out. So yeah, shout out to Caden. Another guy, we just talked about him making All-State, Carter Lee. Just a guy who gets in the box. He hits the ball hard. Like every time he gets in the box, I'm like, let's see how hard this guy's about to hit the ball. And you just love to see it. Big kid, and I think he's only scratching the surface of his true potential. I think he's just going to get better and better. All right, moving on to the 27s. We got Brooks Carter from Valdosta, right?
Yep, he's done really well. I've got him right now. His average 421. Also another guy right at the 60% quality at bat percentage mark. So he's done really good. I know Reed Harden's right there with him. Those are the number 5 and number 6 guys.
And there's Mr. Reed Harden, who by his standards probably not hitting the highest as far as average, which I think is going to go up. But he just finds a way to get on base. That's why he's at the top of the lineup, because he's going to get on base, and he's very consistent. His cousin Taven, who also plays on that team, he's another guy that scraps and gets on base as well. But yeah, that's why Reed is in the top 10. He always finds himself somewhere in the top 10, it seems like. All right, moving on to Mr. Q.
Number 10. He's in the 10 spot.
Yeah, right at the 10 spot. And Q's another guy, I think by his standards, he'd say, I'm not having a great summer. But, he's just a guy who he's consistent. He's going to give you good at-bats. And he's going to find a way to put together productive seasons. And he's shown that since he was 14 when he came to us a couple years ago. So shout out to Q. And I think those numbers are going to get even all of his numbers about to jump up, especially with the tournaments that we're about to go into. At least that is my prediction. All right.
That's a good call. That's a good call.
Moving on to Connor Price. He's in the number 2 spot. Had freakish numbers before his scout day. His numbers are still great. And much like Christian Hewitt, I bet he'd say, hey, scout day, we're just going to flush that and move on for this PG tournament. But he still finds himself in the 2-hole. He has over 100 in bolt and blast, which is pretty hard to do. And at a 91 carry. So yeah, just a great guy. Pretty good arm off the bump as well. Impact player for our new coach, Coach Parks. That's why he finds himself there at the top of the lineup, generally in like the 1, 2, or 3 hole. And then another one of Parks' guys is Brogan Hunter, who is, he's one of the sneaky guys.
He is. No, the game, one of their games they won up there at Lake Point last weekend, they played pretty well all weekend. They were competitive all the games they played. And I remember he got a couple of big hits that game. Line drives back up the middle, hit the ball really well. I've got him on our stats hitting 385. Another guy over 60% quality at bat. Yeah. So that's one of the themes is like, and this is why we preach it, right? Like the quality at bat percentage. Like some of these guys in the top 10, Reed Harden's hitting 222. Not a great batting average, but his quality at bat percentage is 60%. Right. So like even though your batting average isn't that high, like that's not the best predictor of offensive production.
Right. And that's why carry kind of accounts for that, right? Because it's quality at bats along with your hitting metrics, because it's factoring in that, hey, you're putting together some good at bats. Maybe you've been unlucky. Maybe you've lined out a couple times, or maybe you're like Caden Hogan and just, scrapping out at bats and, finding a way to get on base a lot of times. And that's another, going back to my conversations with some of the coaches. That's something I was talking to KC about from North Georgia. Cause I was like, hey, I used to keep stats like 2 years ago when I first started. And I was like, some of these stats look terrible, but like my best guy is, he's hitting like 200, but it doesn't show that he has the highest impact on my team.
Right.
Because,
when he has an 8 pitch at bat.
Right. He's having good at bats. Yeah. He's finding ways to get on base, or he's putting the ball in play and forcing, people to get make errors. Right. Like people, I think negate the value of that sometimes of, not striking out, which that's why if you strike out, your carry rating is definitely going to go down.
Big time.
Right. And so, yeah, Brogan Hunter has done an unbelievable job. I think he's like another guy that's 1 or 2 in quality at bat percentage as well. So shout out to him. And then moving on to your team, the 28s.
Oh, yeah.
We got, I call this guy Sir Raj.
Sir Raj.
Sir Raj.
Okay.
He's been knighted into the Prophylytics royal family.
Yeah. Brody's done good. Him and Reese, like the Bash brothers on my team, kind of. And
that's a good name.
Yeah, we missed him the first weekend because, good for them. They were playing in the state championship.
Right.
They weren't able to win, but Brody, I know, was contributing, as a freshman with his high school team. He was in the lineup. He was getting an EH and DH a lot. So he's done some really cool stuff. Brody's hitting 500 right now, 66% quality at bats. So those are some really good numbers, obviously. And he missed a few games. So, limited sample size, but I mean, still, like 66% quality at bats. Like, he's done some really good stuff. He's hit several balls hard. And when he's in the lineup, my team is definitely better.
Absolutely. And one thing to note, you don't get ranked. So, for instance, Gray McLean obviously isn't on here, but he's batting 1,000. But he only has 3 hits. So it does factor in. There is an algorithm that, like, if you're not over a certain threshold, comparably to everybody else, then you won't be able to be ranked. So everybody that is ranked and that we're mentioning qualifies as far as plate appearance wise. So some people do have, less plate appearances than others, like Brody and Reese, but they do have enough to.
They hit the threshold.
Yeah, they hit the threshold to
Very
qualify.
cool. Gray,
So,
if you're watching this, hop in the chat. I want to see if you're here, Gray.
What are the odds? Another guy.
26 people watching. I don't know. Yeah, we need to get some more people in the chat. If you guys are in the chat, let us know. Like,
hey, y'all are gonna want to be in the chat for what we got coming later.
We can talk to you guys. I want to talk to somebody.
Yeah, what we got coming later, you're gonna want to be in the chat because big announcement. Michael Bailey. Here's a guy.
Yes, Michael Bailey.
Yeah,
he's been an absolute dog on my team.
Yes.
He's done really well. He's, not the biggest guy in stature, but another guy who's just got good bat to ball skills, and he can run too. And we'll talk about, some of the scout day metrics here in a minute, but I think he was one of the better 60 times for the guys on my team. And so he's a good athlete. He's just been a guy who's been tough to strike out, I think. Trying to find where he's at on the rankings.
He's on 11.
Yeah, he's in the 11th spot. Yeah, hitting 375, 55% quality at bat. So he's done a good job. I think, I'm trying to remember, I think he laid down a beautiful bunt or two.
Yes, he did. I was at that game. Yeah.
So yeah, he's done a
nice bunt.
good job. And that's one of those things too. Like, when you're an athlete, you're not the biggest kid on the team, but you can handle the bat, you can bunt, you can hit and run, you know how to execute things. Like, reminds me of like how I used to play, right? I wasn't the biggest and the strongest guy, but all of a sudden, in college, you find yourself in the 2-hole because you can bunt, you can hit and run.
You can manipulate. And that's a big thing, because I think at, these Power 5 schools, and especially in the MLB, the big talk is like small ball's going away, right? Because, and for good reason, their metrics say, hey, like, it's not advantageous to play small ball. But in a lot of these other colleges, especially D2, D3, like, it works. Like, you put the ball in the ground, you make people have to make plays, and you force chaos. That's going to win you a lot of ball games. And so if you show that you're a guy that can handle the bat well, college coaches, they're going to take interest in you. Absolutely. So, yep. And then the last guy that we got on the list, we've talked about him a little bit, is Mr. Reese Bridges, who is in that 7-hole batting .429. Listen to this. He has over 100 carry. I think he has the highest carry. He's the only guy with 100 carry in the program. He's over 100 volt, under 120 volt right now. That means he's getting on base at an unreal clip, and his blast is almost at 100. It's at 93. So unreal numbers from Reese Bridges. Looking forward to seeing what he does in this coming up tournament. So shout out to all of our top performers showing out. And yes, before we get into college recruiting, I think we have on our list, we had some shout outs from the PBR tournaments. I think Aiden Smith, we wanted to talk about him.
Yeah, that's right. That was the second or first tournament. I think it was the first one.
No, it was the second tournament. It was the second tournament. I think it was like the first game.
No, it was the first one.
Was it?
I think so. It was the first time he threw, I think.
Yes, you're right. It was the first tournament.
Yeah, he threw a no-hitter at Lake Point, which is obviously pretty sick. 6 2/3. And then Dylan came in to get that. But that was awesome.
You got to tell him how you got booed.
I did get booed, yeah. We had to pull him. We bumped his pitch count back twice. First, it was like 80. And then I said, you can go to 94. And then next thing we know, we're at like 98. I'm like, all right, we're done.
You got to go. Got to pull him.
But he's done really well. Obviously, he threw a no-hitter at Lake Point, which is really sick. And then there's a lot of guys, too, who just, got shouted out by the PBR Georgia Twitter account. And so anytime, our guys do that and they get their name out there a little bit, like I remember Caleb Green has been on there for hitting balls hard. Connor
Nice.
Price has been on there. I know Taven's been on there. Reeves has been on there. And so a lot of the guys on various teams, you know, when they get out there and they hit the ball well at Lake Point and they play hard and they do the right, you know, they play the game the right way, people take notice of that. And that's one of the things we talked about at Scout Day too, is like how those Twitter videos or X, whatever you want to call it now,
Right.
technically they're important because you're building your player portfolio,
Right.
You know, and those, you know, you retweet those on your page, and then like they're there for good.
Mhm.
And so college coaches are like, hey, let me see some stuff from this kid, and boom, 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 boom. Oh wow, like look at those, look at 3 or 4 different tweets. I got these
Right.
videos to look at. So they do matter, and that's why we go play
Yeah,
up there.
that was one thing that actually surprised me. I mean, I knew social media was important, but all the college coaches echoed that sentiment that, hey, be on Twitter, or X, as you know, formerly known as Twitter. Have a good profile and make sure that you're posting videos, because it's so different from when we came up. It was like, do I do it? Do I not? Like social media was a little more of a gray area. Of course, you needed more of a clean presence because they were mainly checking it to see like, hey, are you a good
Character,
person?
right.
Yeah, it was
Check
like a
your character.
character
And that's
check.
still just
which
as
is
important.
which is still important. But now it's super important for them to be able to see like, hey, how does this guy swing? Because I may not be able to go see him right live, or before I go see him live, let me see like if he's somebody I even want to consider going to see. And so yeah, I thought that was interesting. Of course, we'll probably talk about that a little more once we get to the recruiting section.
Yeah,
But-
and one thing that just, you know, the reality of the situation is that was my chair squeaking.
okay, I thought it was my cat.
No,
I
that
was
was my
like,
chair. Is the game has changed. Like today with the transfer portal,
yeah,
and with everybody coming and leaving.
yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that
and
on
going,
a whole
yeah,
episode
yeah,
too.
that's a whole different podcast. You know, we could have a whole week long talk about that.
Right.
But all the college coaches today are on X. They're on social media,
Right.
because they have players coming and leaving so frequently, and guys are up in the air, and like they have to recruit players quickly, right? And there's only a few different coaches recruiting, but there's a whole lot of players, you know, promoting themselves on social media.
Right.
And so we'll talk about that some more, but that's just the nature of how things have changed, you know, even in the last 10 years from, you know, when we were playing and we were getting recruited.
Right.
So
Yeah.
A lot of good
Super
stuff.
interesting. So yeah, we had him. I think you talked about the guys that got shouted out and tweeted from PBR. So super cool.
Tal Duke, Quentin Peterson,
Yeah.
a couple other guys I
Yeah.
know
Tao
of.
hit that ball good. He
Tal's
hit
been
a,
swinging it.
Yeah, he's been swinging
doing
it. I
good.
think he's batting over 300 right now. He just got to come to more games so he can get his profit up. But I think he's where is old Tao? Oh, he's down here. Yeah, he just got to get some more bats, get his profit up. But yeah, Tao's been putting together some pretty good at bats for Coach Parks there. But yeah, so before we move on to the college recruiting section, I do have a bit of an announcement. So we've been putting together this Proflytics stuff, and a lot of people ask, like, you know, how does this stuff break down? A lot of people want to know where their rank is. And so I think we're going to start doing a full Proflytics show where we get to throw up cool graphics every day. That's kind of separate from, you know, the traditional podcast. We're kind of talking to you guys about, you know, how to improve, going over some stuff, updating you guys. And the cool thing is we're going to start having baseball cards, Coastal Stars baseball cards, collectibles. And like, this is no joke. I have a starter pack that we're going to flash on the screen, right?
Oh boy.
I have
You
a
got it
starter
right now?
pack. Yes, right now.
All right.
Here we go.
Oh, this is sick.
All right. So
We better have some people in the chat talking about this.
we have 2 wild cards in a gold edition, right? And if you tune into the Proflytics show, we're going to be opening a lot of packs. We're going to have a pack a week, collectibles items. Not sure how we're going to work out printing them, but let's open some of these bad boys. So the first guy, wild card, Bo Greer.
The right fielder.
The
in
right
goal.
fielder, he gets the PO plus badge. He made some really good plays in right field. One going into the fence, one in the gap. So he also gets the access denied pass. All right, opening the second one, Mr. Wills Gates.
That's my guy right there.
He broke up the no-no with a ground rule double. So he is our second wild card. He gets the no-no breaker. He's also, with that double, on the blast squad. So he got the hacker badge as well. And for our last gold standard card is Mr. Aiden Smith, right? Because he wins 6 2/3, 5 Ks, no hits. So he gets the 0 badge, also the access denied badge, because nobody got a hit off of him. So those are your badges. Also, if you look in the top left corner, it has their value. So Mr. Bow has 200, Mr. Gates has 270, and coming in at a whopping 658, we got Mr. Aiden Smith. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is your starter pack.
That's so sick.
So yeah, that's what we got coming down. We're going to be opening a bunch of packs. We got some really cool graphics that lays out, top 10 in the program for like carry, for, different things, profit, that we're going to be doing on the Proflytics show. Just to, make things fun. Hopefully we can get some really cool guys in the chat. And also, because guys, reach out to me all the time like, hey, can I get my metrics, or like, where am I ranked? And I'm like, hey, tune into the Proflytics show. I mean, of course, I'll send it to you privately, but tune into the Proflytics show, see where you're ranked, see, and also see like how all this stuff kind of works. We can dive into the nitty gritty a little bit more there. So yeah, that was our first starter
That's
pack.
pretty cool.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. So
if you want your own baseball card,
yeah,
you guys comment in the chat. Let us know.
Yes,
because
so,
Josh has the ability to make them. That's pretty sick.
Right. Yeah. So I have so there's 10 that get automatically made based on like your points. And it's kind of basically where you rank in certain areas. So it's not necessarily like 1 through 10, right? It's like who is the best, and it's only 3 people per class. So you get a gold, a silver, and a bronze in each class, plus 1 wild card a week. And the wild card, as you saw, like Bo Greer and Wills Gates were like the wild cards, right? And that's just like it's kind of like an inside thing, right? Who had like a funny moment, like what wacky thing happened this past week. And so if you have a funny moment, like last year, Bo Greer, when everybody was screaming Bo Greer, obviously like a wild card, right? And so if you have anything interesting happen, let us know. And it might be wild card worthy, and they might make the collection for the week. So that's what we got coming down the pike. Let's get into our main event, recruiting, right?
Yeah,
Super
Jacob,
important.
I agree. Those cards were pretty fire.
Oh yeah, let me check the comments really quick.
Yeah, we don't have much going on, but
yeah, let me
I'm
check
glad
the
to see
comments. So
Jacob's.
yeah, shout out to Mr. Rogerson
Mr.
saying
Rogerson, what's up?
Brody had football practice this afternoon. Now he's just absolutely grinding. He's in the
Let's
cage.
go.
Oh, shout out to Amani, who's in the chat. She is, I call her our roommate. She's temporarily living with us right now in our house. So shout out
So
to
good
her.
friend.
Yeah,
Nice.
great friend. She's also on our other YouTube channel. She features there. Let's see. Mr. Q said nice. And then, yeah, Jacob Gray said those cards are pretty fire. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you. Hey, fun fact. Jacob Gray, he just kept going up. He was like, if nobody's going to hit at scout day, I'll just keep going up.
I know. I had to cut him off.
Yeah,
I love
because
it.
he was
I
about,
love it. Yeah.
after his last at bat, he was about to go
He
and
was
hit
about to
again.
go for his 5th, and I was like, all right, hang on a minute. I
Yeah.
had too many guys with 1 and 2. I was trying to manage the at-bats. But
But
I love guys.
But with
that
with that last at bat, he actually has the most plate appearances
there you go.
in the program, edging out Christian Hewitt, who's the leadoff hitter on that team, by 1 plate appearance. Shout out to Reed. He says a Reed Harden baseball card would be nice. Reed, you may or may not be in the first collection. You will have to tune into the first Proflytics show.
Have to see.
I will let you know when that's going to be when I finalize the details. Hopefully it'll be this week, probably Thursday before we get into the show, if I get everything nailed down. But yeah, you may or may not be in the first collection. I will leave that to a mystery so that you have to tune into the show. But yes, thank you guys for your comments. Let's get into the recruiting handbook and some important details in regards to how guys need to go about recruiting. This is something that came up in our coaches group chat. You're like, hey, what should we talk about on this podcast? And Ked and Coach Parks echoed the same sentiment of like, hey, like I know we have this in our handbook, but I'm still getting questions all the time. These guys are unsure, and it's really hard to navigate. How, as a prospect, as a high schooler, do I go about communicating with coaches, especially when you're maturing as a young man, kind of learning how to be social, not only with your peers, but coming into your own and about to go to college where you're going to be in a more professional setting. How do I talk to these coaches in a professional manner? So let's dive into this handbook, which, if I'm not mistaken, is sent out to everybody every year. So it should be in your email, and maybe in one of the upcoming emails this week, you can maybe attach it again, since it might be fresh in everybody's mind. So they just have a quick access to it. But yeah, let's go through this a little bit.
Absolutely. We won't hit everything just because I'll be coughing
Right.
too much probably. But yeah, following Scout Day, obviously it's important time. And a lot of our guys are already doing this stuff too. So, I mean, but it's good for everyone to hear it. And this is, a document that we've had for several years now, and that it's constantly changing and evolving. Every year I go in there and I edit it because there's changes. Like the NCAA changed a bunch of rules recently this year for, roster sizes and for scholarships. So there's different rules that changes all the time. Obviously COVID and the transfer portal made a lot of changes as well. But there's a lot of good information here and a lot of stuff that we've learned as we've done this and as we've coached guys and as we've sent guys off to play in college, some of the things that are important. And so right off the bat, we've got a few notes here regarding this handbook. The player has to lead the recruiting charge. So if the player doesn't want to play college baseball, then it's probably not going to happen. Doesn't matter how bad mommy or daddy wants you to play. Recruitment is done best when the player leads the charge. So we don't lead the charge for you. We're here to help you. We're here to assist you. We're here to guide you, but you have to do it. It's your recruitment. It's your career. You have to take accountability for it. However, number 2 there, while players should have accountability, parents and other family members must provide crucial support and guidance, because it is a family-oriented process. It's a family decision. It's a family choice. And so everyone in the family should be involved. For every baseball player, the baseball playing days are going to come to an end. Happened for me, happened for you. It's going to happen to the best players who ever wear our uniform.
Right.
That's just how it is. However, that college degree that you get and that baseball can help you pay for, it's going to last until the day you die. So you'll always have that to go back on. And so that's something that's really important, is understanding that baseball is not the end all be all. However, it's a great tool to help you progress in life and to gain skills and to learn and to become, a valuable member of society. So that's really important. Another one, number 4 on the list, is playing college baseball is attainable for most, if not all, of our players with hard work, determination, and some strategy and planning. All right. So you wouldn't be on our team if we didn't think you had that potential. And for 99% of guys, there is a home for you somewhere.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Now, granted, it depends on how bad you want to play, right? Because, if you only throw 75 or if you run an 8 flat 60 and you're not a very good athlete, you're not, you might have to go play somewhere, that's pretty far from home. That's desperate for players, but you can find somewhere to go play. But it depends on a lot of those different variables. Number 6, the recruiting process, I've already mentioned this, is constantly evolving and changing. And another comment I'll add on that too is right now it's probably the hardest it's ever been for high school players. It's the hardest it's ever been for you guys to go play in college, just because of the nature of how many roster spots there are and how many older guys are already in the system, and kind of a backlog from what happened with COVID. Thankfully, a lot of those guys are kind of phasing out, but it's very, very difficult. And then number 7, the best ways to get recruited are simply develop a recruitable skill set, develop tools. And so that's what our Scout Day is for, right? Some of our guys think they're college ready and their 60 time says otherwise. You know what I mean? And so you have to develop tools. You have to be good enough to be a college player. Number 2, use social media and emails to get the attention of next level decision makers. Number 3, play on a team with other talented players. Number 4, play in a respected organization like ours that sent, and has sent players to play in college, and then compete against high level, opponents. Right. And that's what we're doing. And that's what we've mentioned already with Lake Point, the PBR tournaments, getting your videos out there. We talk to college coaches, at those events and at those tournaments. And so that's why they're there. That's why we go there. So yeah, Next portion there talks about, a little bit of the numbers, how many different schools there are, what division, what level. We won't dive into that too much. You can keep on going down. There's a chart here. These are all the schools in the state of Georgia. I just had the state of Georgia on there right now, but obviously, you can find this for the state of Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina, wherever you're at. I just didn't put them all. It'd be a long, long list if I did every state. So I just did Georgia. Scholarship expectations. These are important. So a lot of people just think, oh man, like I'm going to go get a scholarship for baseball and then it'll pay for everything. And that's not really how this works, right? It's not an equivalency sport. It's not like football or basketball, which grant full ride scholarships to a lot of their players, right? They have a lot of full rides that they can offer. But college baseball is an equivalency scholarship sport. And so what that means is a scholarship only covers a percentage of the total cost of attendance. And so, for example, when I went and played at Georgia State, the first scholarship offer I got was 25%. And so that covered 25% of my college cost. And then thankfully I had a 4.0 GPA. So I had the Zell Miller scholarship. And then I had a couple of other grants. And then when I put all that together, it paid for just about everything. I was in the honors college. That helped pay for some stuff. And then as I played really well, my scholarship went up from 25 to 30 to 35%. And then
you were pretty much
I was good. I had no, loans. I had nothing. And so that's obviously a massive blessing. And that's the goal, right? Is how can I get my college paid for?
Same for me. I forgot what percentage, but it was low enough, especially with, I think I had Hope, and it was low enough to where, my parents were able to fortunately pay for it out of pocket, like the difference. So it wasn't a strain on them financially, which is, I know, a concern for, a lot of parents out there, especially, with, the recent economy with the way it is. So guys, help your parents out by getting good grades. You're not only helping yourself, but you're helping your family as a whole. And you'll more than likely be able to go to a more prestigious school, not only baseball wise, but academically as well, the higher grades that you get, so that you can get a better education to set you up for when your playing career inevitably ends.
That's right. Yeah. And this actually document is I need to update this because it's actually no longer 11.7. That's been changed up, and now baseball, with a lot of the transfer portal stuff, the NIL stuff, that number has changed, and so now it's actually a higher number, but the roster sizes are limited now to, I believe, 35. So instead of 27, it's up to 35, but they're offered more scholarships. However, those scholarships are dependent on school funding. So if the school's not bringing in a bunch of money, if you're not an SEC school, then they still can't give 35 full rides. But that's something that's recently changed in the last few months, in the last year. Division II is a little bit less. They have less scholarship money. Division III teams, they actually don't offer athletic scholarships. So you want to go play at a really good Division III school, which there are really good Division III schools. Piedmont, right? That's a good example. They don't offer athletic scholarships. So that's something that you need to be aware of as a player and as a high school prospect. Like, that's why your grades are so important. And that's why finding ways to also get additional scholarships are so important to make school affordable. NAIA is a little different as well. And then you can go on and you can read a little bit more about the junior college stuff, how many they can offer. And obviously you guys have to do, your own research. And when college coaches are talking to you guys, like that's one of the things, like if they do offer you like those, they give you those numbers where they say, hey, like this is a dollar amount that we can offer you as a scholarship. Or a percentage of your tuition. And so, as you guys get closer to that level of where you're being recruited, you'll kind of see that to play, how that plays out, and how much those schools are able to offer you. And it all depends on the level of the school as to what, rules they have to follow. And also it depends on the funding of the school. And then obviously as well, whether you're in-state or out-of-state is a big impact as well. In-state tuition is always less than that of out-of-state tuition. And so that's something to keep in mind as well. All right, we'll go to part 3 real quick.
Yep.
Josh, you got anything else you want to throw in there real quick?
Nope, but I do like this section that I'm highlighting here. Go where you can play.
That's right.
I was explaining this earlier, and it's just true. Like, you have to go where you can play, because you're going to get the best experience. right? You're not going to be, down on yourself because, oh man, like I'm not a good player because I'm riding the bench. But if you go somewhere where you can, be an impact guy, right, and you can really compete, then that's when you get better because you're constantly in that state of competing and you're getting experience because you're getting college reps, right? It's not fun when you're just, riding the bench and the only reps you get are in practice. And that affects not only your experience as an athlete, but it also will bleed into your experience on campus, in school. And so you want to go somewhere where you fit because it's just going to make your overall experience better.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then, I mean, in today's game too, like obviously if you go junior college or if you go somewhere that's a lower level and you play really, really well, you know what's going to happen.
Right.
You're going to get to transfer out. And,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, I don't encourage anybody to do that plan. Obviously, that's what junior colleges are for. So that's a little different. But that's just the nature of how the beast works. That's just how it is these days. You know, there's not a lot of guys who go into a smaller school and are like, man, this is my ride or die, super small school. I've always dreamt about, helping this team go win the NAIA World Series, which is incredible. Like there's schools where players should do that.
Yeah. Like my brother went NAIA and, I mean, honestly, I think he was good enough to probably play like the D2. Now he wasn't like, our family didn't understand the nature of, how this recruiting, like if I had this when I was coming up, it'd have been a different ball game. Like I would have been, better equipped to establish those relationships with college coaches to put myself out there a little bit more. And my brother had a little bit more information, but it was still kind of like, the execution wasn't there, right? Because my parents both ran track, and track is a whole lot different in the recruiting than baseball. Like track is such an objective sport that like my mom and dad, well, my dad was a little bit different because he went to the Air Force Academy. So you have to go through like the whole congressional, process before you get accepted. But my mom, like, they didn't have to like see her physically run in order to give her a scholarship. Enough, it's like, you ran this time? Okay.
Come on.
We can give you a scholarship. Now she still went out and like did the whole visit and met with the coaches and stuff, but they didn't have to like see her run. They saw her time and were like, all right, yeah, you're good enough to come here.
Right.
And so it's such a different, process than that. And so I didn't have that context of like, oh, how do you do this? And then, throw in the fact that, social media is changing the game and how recruiting is changing. And so this stuff is really valuable, guys. So please take notes, pay attention. Coach Justin and I know Coach Trent and the people that have put this together from the past and that continue to update it, have put a lot of time and research and talking to college coaches and, just from past experience, putting this together for you guys. So use it.
Yep. Quick pause. Shout out to Matthew Albritton. He was all region.
Yes. Shout out to him, man. Shout out.
Before I forget, shout out to Matt. Oh boy. All right. Back to the recruiting stuff. This next section here talks a little bit about where can you play, right? Everybody wants to go play at Georgia Tech. Everybody wants to go play at the University of Georgia. Everybody wants to play,
right.
For whatever, SEC school, ACC.
It's normally their favorite football school.
Right.
Their football college
insert
school.
your favorite school, right? And the reality is go watch the players on TV right now, right? You got Duke, you got Murray State. Let's see what the score is. It's the bottom of the eighth.
Who's winning that?
Murray State's up 5-4.
Let's go.
I'm cheering for Murray State.
Yeah, me too.
Let's
but
go watch these guys play. Everybody that plays at the level of, the Power Five, they're grown men, right? They're transfer portal guys. And they're freaks, and you have to understand where can I realistically play, right? And so that's really important, and that's what this next section talks about. Like, pitchers right there. This is the Division I level. Righties could be as low as 86, but consistently up to 95 plus.
Yeah, it's just like
go watch these super regional games. See if you see any right-handed pitchers. They
have to throw. They have to throw.
I mean, everybody's
90.
92, 94, 96. You watched Tennessee play the other night. That Liam Kidd's throwing 98, 100, 101.
Yeah, that's crazy though. They got swept.
It's just how it is. They did, yeah. So they're at home watching the podcast right now. But my point still stands as to how good you have to be, right? And this talks about the size you need to be as well. Your pop time, 195. We didn't have anybody at Scout Day do that.
That's quick.
That is quick. But we do have people in the program who have done that.
Right. Yeah.
And who can do that. But this is, some of these numbers in here are just kind of wake-up calls, right? Middle infielders, you need to run a 6'8" or below 60. How many guys did we have run below a 6'8"?
I actually didn't even see the stat. We had two?
We had two.
So,
neither one of them were middle infielders either.
They're both outfielders?
Both outfielders.
Yeah.
And so it's, this is just how it is. Like, that's what these numbers are for. Like, and this is why we put this stuff together. So players, you have to have realistic expectations, and that's what this is for. It is, it can be sometimes hard to swallow that you're not going to play at Georgia Tech, but it's how it is. It's the reality. Thankfully, there's a whole lot of college baseball teams out there. And that's why we said previously that if you want to play bad enough, there's probably somewhere for you. And so that's this section. And we're not going to talk about every position and how fast you have to run or how much you need to weigh or what your pop time needs to be.
But it is there. So
it's there. It's there for you guys to have some realistic expectations. And this is the conversation I had with one of our guys not too long ago. I was talking to Mason, about, his next steps and what he needs to do. And sometimes my answer isn't like, hey, like your email's not looking good enough, or hey, like your Twitter account, we need to tweak it. It's really, you need to get bigger, you need to get faster, you need to get stronger, you need to get more physical. That's a lot of the times what my answer is. And that's what the college coaches at Scout Day said Saturday too. And we'll talk more about that here in a second. But we can keep...
real quick. Q had a really good question. What about the exit velo? Is that a factor? It absolutely is. So college coaches are looking for toolsy players because they believe if I get a guy in here that, is good and covers, the tools that I need that fit into the style of baseball that I'm playing, then I can mold him into, the player that I need him to be for my team, essentially. And so if you have a team that's like, hey, we're going to be like the Bash Bros and we're just going to bang it around the park, then they're looking for high velo guys, right? They're not just looking for guys that are big, right? They're looking for guys that are probably bigger, but that have some pop off the bat because that's the style of baseball that they're trying to play. And so it is a factor, but it also has to factor into how that team is structured, right? Because every team is structured, differently with different playing styles. But exit velo has become one of the bigger factors that college coaches are looking for, and it will probably continue because of all the data that just continues to come out about how much better of a player you are when you hit the ball harder. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's super important, and obviously, I think when I was playing, I hit a home run in pro ball. I think the fastest I ever hit was like 105 exit velo.
That's sick.
But it's certainly important in that coaches, it can pick grab attention.
Right.
Like when Q gets tweeted at Lake Point and they're like 99 exit velo.
Yeah. They're like, whoa.
That turns some heads.
Especially only being a 2027.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super important. And that's Q's biggest tool is he can swing it, right? But like you mentioned, it does depend on, how a college coach wants that to fit in. And everybody wants players with the highest exit velo possible.
No, yeah, absolutely.
That's
absolutely.
the game. Yeah. That's how you hit it, right? That's how you hit the ball over the fence.
Because, if you, not only hitting the ball over the fence, but just think about the gappers. Like, you can have a fast outfield. If you hit the ball like 100 miles an hour, you can have guys running 6.2s in every position. They're not running the ball down to the gap, right? It's a hit. Whereas if you have a lower exit velo, hey, that ball might hang up in the air just enough for him to go make a diving play. And so that's why it's also a big factor as well.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely a factor to answer the question, I guess. However, it's not the end all be all, right? Because if your exit velo is 105,
but you strike out every time,
and your strikeout percentage is 40%, it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to want you, right? So you still have to grind out ABs. You still have to have a high quality bat percentage. But it's absolutely a tool that coaches like to see.
Right. And if, for instance, since we're talking about Q, if that is your biggest asset, you double down on your strengths, right? That's and I think he did a good job with that during BP. He was trying to hit the ball as hard as he could every swing. And it's that's exactly what they want to see. Even if you know, popping up or flaring off a couple times. It's like, no, like they can tell like you're swinging with intent every single time.
Yeah.
And college coaches take note of that. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, great question there, Q. So yeah, let's proceed.
Cool. We can keep going. Let's go down to kind of the part 3. If you're going to keep scrolling, that just still continues to talk about, you know, what players look like at different levels. You can keep going. It'll say part 3.
Okay,
right
there we go.
So recruiting rules. All right. So there are many rules in place regarding college baseball recruiting. There's different calendars that you need to be aware of. And the higher the level, so at Division I, the more strict the rules are. So one of the new rules that was implemented just a couple years ago in 2023 was that college coaches can't have contact with players prior to August 1st of their junior year, and that's for Division I. So they saw the problem of, you know, the best players in the 8th grade were already committing, and then 4 years down the road, none of them were ending up going to the schools where they committed to in 8th grade.
Right.
And so that was becoming a problem, and so that's what that rule is for those Division I schools. Now there are workarounds, right? Like you get a kid on campus, he comes to a camp, then they can still talk to you, then they can still offer you. And so it still happens. Like there's still workarounds, but that's a rule.
But that's why camps are also big.
We'll talk about that. That's one of the sections here as well. However, there are quiet periods, there are dead periods, and the higher the level, the more strict those rules are. So Division I, there's very structured stuff like they can't reach out to you during this time, or they can't have you on campus during this time. Now, Division II, Division III, it's more lax, and the lower the level, sometimes it's more of just kind of a free-for-all. But there's still some things in place, and, you know, make sure you guys, I would encourage you guys to check out the NCAA website too. Just go take a look at, you know, the calendars they have on there and some of the rules. I won't, you know, get into the nitty-gritty on all that. But if you scroll down a little bit more, Josh, there's a couple timelines here. When do most players commit, right? So Power 5 Division I guys, summer before freshman year to summer before junior year. Mid-major, summer before sophomore year, summer before senior year. So those, you know, the lower the level, the later the commitments is basically what this is saying. So you can see low Division II, NAI, junior colleges, mid to low Division IIIs. And the reality is that's where a lot of our guys are. That's where most of our guys are. And you can see a lot of them don't commit until the senior year. Right. And like that's what I was talking to, you know, Coach Simons of Covenant. They're a Division III school, right?
Yeah, and they're looking for guys right now.
Yeah, they're looking for 2025s and 2026s
to come in right now.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. They're not looking at 2027s yet because they're Division III. They have to wait for all the smoke to clear before they grab guys. That's just how it is. Same way for some of the NAI schools, the lower level Division II schools. Now, the higher you go up, you know, it becomes more competitive a little bit sooner.
Right.
And so that's what this talks about. And then the other one, what affects this, right? There's some things that affect this. Late bloomers, when a player can be identified, needs changing within a program. Players transfer, boom, I need a third baseman. I got to go get one.
Got to get one now.
Right. Yeah. Players transfer and coaching changes. The draft also can change this. Sometimes Division I schools will have 2 or 3 guys get drafted they weren't anticipating.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that doesn't happen as often now because the draft is only 20 rounds. That was more of a thing when it was 40 rounds, and some kids decide to go into the draft instead of going to college. But it definitely still happens. Also, quick update. Anybody who's watching the Murray State game, hop in the chat. Keep us posted. I think it's looks like it's a good game. They're in the bottom of the 9th. Murray State's up 1. I need to be watching it right now, and I'm not, but it's fine.
We should have had it. On.
We should live stream this. But yeah, we can continue on, Josh, if you want to.
All right. Well, we got part 4.
Recruiting tools. This is probably the most important part here, guys. So this is where some of our players kind of get lost, I think. Email. And this is what, I can't remember, was it KC who said it? At Scout Day, he talked about email and Twitter. Might have been one of the other coaches.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was the Georgia Southwestern coach.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was, yeah.
But yeah, email is one of the biggest tools you guys have. Coach Trent just dropped a couple comments. 5-4 going top of 9th. Legend Murray State got to face top and lineup in the 9th.
Oof,
oh boy.
That's awesome.
Speaking of Murray State and college baseball, anybody that's watching this, make sure you guys are watching college baseball.
Right.
If you guys want to be college baseball players, you need to be
watch
watching.
It, yeah.
You have to be watching. Not only is it electric and it's entertaining, but you can learn so much just from watching.
Right.
And a lot of our guys, especially the younger guys, my 15U, the 14U guys, like when I coach you guys, I can tell you've never watched baseball.
Right. Because when we
it's
talk
just-
about like
man.
when we talk about guys who have feel, you know, it's because they've watched baseball,
Yeah.
they've played it, they've been around it, and they understand how to operate in certain situations. They understand what to say, when to say it, what not to say in certain situations.
Oh, yeah.
Because they just have the feel. They understand the game because they live, they breathe it. They're students of the game. And if you're not a student of the game, if you're not watching it as well as playing it, then you're going to be behind.
Yeah, you're going to fall behind the guys that are doing it,
Absolutely.
without a doubt. Cool. Back to recruiting. Email. Sending emails to college coaches is one of the best ways to get in contact with and on their radar, right? So I did it. I remember my dad helping me do it. I remember when I was a 10th grader and 11th grader, I was like, this is so stupid. Why am I doing it?
Yeah.
Little did I know, like, that's how you get on their radar. That's
Right.
how you get invited to camps. That's how you get them to come watch you play in the summertime. You send them your schedule, right? And that's why it's so important. And on this recruiting handbook, I literally have a template for you guys. This is how you should do it. And it's really important to be short, simple, sweet. Here's who I am. Here's my number. You know, here's my positions. Here's my info.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my schedule. That's it. College coaches don't want to hear your story. They don't have time. They don't care.
Yeah.
Your job is to tell them who you are, what positions you play, why you're interested in their school, and that's it. And so that's exactly what this template is for. Okay. A lot of times you won't get a response. That's just how it is.
Well, Saggy had the coach from Emmanuel,
Mhm.
had an interesting take on this. He said, don't just send it to one of the coaches or just the
Yeah,
head coach.
send it to all of them.
He said, send it to all of them
Yeah.
so they all have it because, you know, one, the head coach is always busy because he's not only getting emails from you, he's getting emails from admin. He's getting probably emails from his own players.
Mhm.
He's got so much going on. Other coaches are probably taking care of like traveling expenses and emailing and, you know, logistics for other things. And so these guys are busy. Like they have full-time jobs, right? Their full-time job isn't just answering recruiting emails. So send it to everybody. That gives you the best chance. I mean, it's just like sales. You know, you gotta continue to. It's a numbers game. Like
Right,
the more
that's
you
what
put
Coach-
out there, the more you're going to get back in return.
Yeah, Coach Trenton just had a great chat comment. He said for every 8 emails you send, you will get 1 reply generally, but that's fine. It still works. So you want to get a few responses, then send out a bunch of emails, right? Find the schools that you think you can realistically play at and send out a bunch of emails. Let them know who you are. Ask when they have upcoming camps. Ask what their recruiting needs are for that class and tell them who you are and what you play. Send them your schedule, and that's it. And every now and then you'll get a response. They might invite you to a camp, and then when you go to the camp, they might already know who you are. You shake their hand, you look them in the eyes, you say, "Hey, coach, I would love to possibly, come and play for you guys here, and thank you for having me at this camp."
And that's probably a lot more valuable than if you were to just show up at their camp
Oh yeah,
and they don't know you and they're like, oh, this guy could play a little bit. I wonder if he's just having a good day. But if they've already, established contact with you, made that connection, then they're probably more interested. It's like, oh no, this guy cares. He already reached out to me and he came and he had a good day. That's going to go further than the guy who just showed up and had a good day because they already have that prior connection with you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Cool stuff. Go back up, Josh. I wanted to make sure. A couple of these bullet points here are good. If possible, try to target the coach who is listed as the school's recruiter. But I liked what Saggy said, one of the assistant coaches at Emmanuel. He said, send it to all the coaches. Sometimes it is the head coach, but at larger schools, they have recruiting coordinators who aren't the head coach. Make sure the schools that you're emailing are, you have a chance to play at. If you throw 72, don't email SEC and ACC schools. That's a waste of your time and a waste of theirs. If you can't hit a curveball, just don't reach out to those schools. That's just me being real with you. Don't waste time emailing coaches every week. A good frequency maybe at the beginning of each of your seasons, spring, summer, maybe in the fall, maybe twice a year or two. That'd probably be plenty. And like we've already established, a lot of them aren't going to reply. That's just how it is. And if a coach is interested, they may invite you to a prospect camp. This may be a good way to meet the entire coaching staff, visit the school, and showcase your skills in front of all their coaches. Fun fact is I got my offer from Georgia State after one of their camps. And that's what the Kennesaw State coach said too. He said both the catchers they have that are underclassmen at Kennesaw State, they ID'd them at their prospect camp. And they came to their prospect camps. I think that's how they recruited them. And so it is super important. That's why those camps are important. That's why I encourage our guys, if you're very interested in the school, is to go to the camp. But the Georgia State coach, he saw me play summer ball, got in contact, invited me to the camp, brought me over, played in front of the head coach, hit 2 triples on the field we were at Saturday. And
That's awesome.
Got offered after in the locker room after the camp. And so that's how it can go. And then include your upcoming season schedules, and then also keep it short and sweet. So,
Yeah, I think that's a big one. Like, don't ramble.
yeah, they don't care about your story. Just give them the basic info, and that's it.
Yeah.
So
They'll hear about your story later after you make contact.
That's right. When you talk to them face to face, you can
Right.
tell them all that. But then there's an there's an email template for pitchers right there below that, and then if you keep going, there's a template for position players. All right, so very simple stuff. Good things to get you guys started. And if you keep going, talks about some more tools that you have. Twitter/X, right? This is what I think it was KC said, is make sure you're on Twitter. Make sure you're using X. And I will say this is a big disclaimer. Parents, if you guys are watching, what I'm not saying is to just give your children access to Twitter unsupervised, because that's a bad idea. There's a lot of garbage out there on all social media platforms, so you shouldn't just let them have it and just do whatever they want. That's a bad idea. However, it is a good idea for using it for recruitment purposes. If I was a player today, I'd have a Twitter, and I would go out and I'd hunt down and I'd find all the college coaches at schools that I'm interested in, and I'd find the ones that have X accounts, and I'd follow them. I literally just had, this is the Coastal Stars Twitter. I can't make this up. Let me see if I can find it. I think it was recent. But we had, it must have been a new coach. I didn't recognize his name, but one of the Thomas University assistant coaches, he just followed us on Twitter, the Coastal Stars. I didn't go out and find him. He must have heard about our program, or he probably has, because we've sent players there in the past few years, but he just followed us on Twitter. I saw that recently. And so the college coaches that do the recruiting at a lot of the schools, they're on X and they're on Twitter. And for anyone who doesn't know, Twitter and X are the same thing. It used to be Twitter, and the name changed to X when Elon bought it.
I think everybody still just calls it Twitter.
Yeah,
Everybody I know, at least.
Yeah.
But we do have to interrupt this regularly scheduled programming because Murray State just won off of a dirty slide by Duke. Apparently, this is
Never mind. Wait, he said never mind. They just called it back. Duke gets to bat with 2 outs. Jacob Gray is keeping us updated and keeping us on the edge of our seat.
This is from our inside source. You're getting a live update.
Jacob, don't you lie to us. We're not watching.
Hey, yeah, you can't be a source and then say never mind. So
Yeah, he said never mind. Come on, Jacob. He just told us they won. No.
That's hilarious.
Let me see.
All right, so I guess there's 2 outs apparently. Guy on first.
Yeah, I got a scoreboard pulled up. Play by play. Here we go. Yeah, so somebody reached on a fielder's choice. Somebody out at second base.
So there's got to be 2 outs, right? Runner on first.
Looks like we've got a hit by pitch, a foul out, and then a fielder's choice, but someone got out at second. So yeah, it looks like 2 outs.
Let's go.
I'm cheering for Murray State here.
Yeah, got to go for the underdogs. But yeah, so Twitter.
Yeah, speaking of, all right, let's get back to it. The second tool that we recommend using is Twitter. Here's a good way to set up your Twitter account. And a lot of our guys already have this done. Like, I've seen a lot of our guys who are actively, using Twitter, and guys that we put out videos of at Scout Day, they already have this set up. So they're doing a great job. They've probably seen our recruiting handbook, and they're doing a good job. So that's a good way to set it up. And a couple of things to keep in mind with Twitter is you need to keep it professional. This goes without saying for any social media. If I'm a college coach, I need to make sure you're not a clown, right? One of the biggest things is when I recruit a kid and when I bring a kid into my program, I got potential that I'm hanging out with him for the next 4 years. And I'm looking for good guys, right? Guys that I want to be around, guys that are coachable. And so if you have a bunch of garbage on there, crude things, unprofessional things you wouldn't want your family to know that you've seen or retweeted on Twitter, immature things, stuff like that can turn college coaches away. So you have to make sure it's very professional, and it's used really for just recruiting. The second bullet point there, develop a solid highlight video and keep it pinned or linked on your page. Any coach who visits your page will be looking for video. This is one of the things I mentioned at Scout Day. What it's used for is really just a digital portfolio. It should have videos of you playing. Like when you hit a triple at Lake Point, it should be on your Twitter, right? That should be one of the things that college coaches should see when they go on there and they see your page. And when you look really good in BP or at ground balls at our scout day and we tweet that video, that's why we're doing it. We tag you so you can have it on your page so college coaches can see. Twitter DMs are also a really important, another tool you can use. It's the same exact thing as emailing a coach. You can send a coach a DM, say, hey, coach, here's who I am. Here, check out my page. Let me know if you're looking for 2026 infielders. And obviously, the same rules apply. Like, it has to be somewhere realistic, right?
Right.
It has to be somewhere you actually have a chance to play at.
I also like the Twitter bit too, because like if they get an email from a guy, they can't click on your email and see like your profile.
Yeah.
But on Twitter, they can click on your profile and they can see, oh, this is who this guy is. And they can see, oh, here's a video. I can see him play right now.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing is it's one click.
Right.
He just clicks your page and there's your pinned video of you hitting a triple at Lake Point. And they're like, okay.
Cool.
And then they might scroll a little bit more and they might look and see where your email address is or your phone number, and it might pique their interest. They might send it to their head coach. And so that's how quickly it can happen on Twitter. Like Matthew Thigpen, remember him?
Right. Yeah.
Augusta State. He got offered and he got on their radar, I think, from Twitter. You know, he was at Lake Point, whether it was a tweet we put out, or I know he put out some of his home run videos.
Right.
They saw it. And that's how I think he got in contact with him. So it definitely works. And it just takes a little bit of planning and a little bit of knowledge and how to do it. It's a great networking tool, but like I said, parents, please monitor anything you guys are doing online. Yeah, some good pointers there for you guys. Using Twitter DMs, there's a few points I have here. Take the conversation off of Twitter as quickly as possible. Like if you're in conversation with a coach, if you DM a coach but do not receive a reply, you can follow up a few times before moving on. So there's some good things there listed. Excuse me, guys. But a couple of good points to keep in mind here. So a lot of good stuff for you guys to check out. And then number 3 there on the bottom of the screen, college camps. I've already told my story about when I was recruited. We've already mentioned college camps. So if you guys have a school you think you can play at or you're really interested in playing at, going to their prospect camps is always a good idea.
This just in.
Game over?
Murray State stuns Duke.
Nice.
They're my guys.
You're picking?
They're my guys.
Have you watched any other games really?
I've been following like some of the scores, so I know what's happened, but I haven't gotten a chance to like dive in. Yeah. But some of the regulars are there, like LSU and stuff. So like, I mean, I've been keeping up with it a fair bit. Just can't wait to watch some Omaha games. Also, Miss Peterson has a good question. She said, should the videos have background music or not? They're probably going to turn the volume off. So I don't recommend having background music.
Yeah, most of the videos we should have on Twitter probably shouldn't. It's okay to have a highlight video, like
right, yeah, like if that's
like
music,
a longer
it's fine.
highlight video.
Yeah,
that's okay. But really, I mean, the sound of the bat hitting the ball can be very impactful,
right,
especially for a player like you. So I, generally speaking, I don't like video or music on the videos.
We want to hear the sound of the baseball sounds.
I want to I want to hear the baseball sounds. And so the music doesn't really add anything. A lot of times it's just kind of cringy.
Yeah, I remember this question got asked. I think this was before you even started. You were still playing ball, like one of my first couple years. And one of the coaches says the first thing I do if it has music is I turn the sound off.
Yeah,
it's like I'm not listening to the music. I don't care. It's like I want to see you swing, or I want to see you field, or what have you. I want to see you play. So, just avoid the music.
Yeah, generally speaking, I'm not a fan.
Ooh, Holton has subscribed to our YouTube channel. Shout out to Holton.
Shout out Holton. What up, Holt?
All right, so I think this is college camps. So this is the last thing we got.
Yeah, I kind of talked about that already a little bit.
Yeah,
there's a few more points if you keep scrolling down. Some good reasons to possibly attend a camp. But really, one of the most important things I'll say, kind of in summary, none of this stuff matters if you're not good enough, right? If you throw 68, if you run an 8 flat 60, you have to be good enough to play in college.
Right.
Right. And for a lot of guys, it's just hard for them to do that for a lot of different reasons, genetics, size, strength. One of the biggest things that the college coaches at Scout Day said is physicality, right?
Yeah. Let's dive into that now.
Yeah, we got a few different points from Scout Day we can talk about.
Yeah. Because there were some that was by far, I think, and we've had some really good coaches, like the Albany State guy wasn't there, and he normally talks very well, and gives really good insight. But I think collectively, every coach was given like great insights, because a lot of times there's been times in the past where it's only been like one or two of the scouts really talking to our players and pouring in, but all of those guys we had there were like, no, yeah, this is what we want to see. This is how you do it. They were really personable with our guys. A lot of them stayed and talked to our guys after. So I thought it was, just a really good scout day, really good. It was a really good marker moving us forward, I think, as a program too. So.
Yeah, for sure. And it was funny too, because like we've had more coaches there in the past. Like I think last fall we had like 14 coaches.
Yeah, we had a lot.
It was like, I was like, well, that's a lot of coaches. But I had like 9 or something this time, which is still great. I mean, that's awesome. But I think you're exactly right. The comments the college coaches had at the end were really cool. We had 2 or 3 questions asked by players, and
not to mention our umpire, Mark.
Oh yeah. Love our umpires, but some good questions and some great responses from the coaches, and we'll talk about those here real quick and to kind of wrap things up before we select who's going to win the College World Series. But physicality, that was one of the biggest things, right? If you guys want to play in college, we kind of say that the magic number is 160 pounds, right? If you don't get to 160 pounds, it's going to be tough. Really doesn't matter what position you play. Go watch the College World Series. Like, go type it in Chat GPT. What's the average size of a Division I baseball player?
Right.
Nobody's running out there at 145, 150 pounds.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
Sorry, Josh Profit.
So, yeah. You got to get big. You got to get in the weight room. You got to get stronger. The second point I had was student athlete. And everybody knows
student comes first.
The student part comes first. And it stinks when I have a really good player in our program that I'm trying to help get recruited. And that's what I do at Scout Days. I'm constantly going up to the college coaches. I'm like, hey, like, you got any questions about anybody? What you think? Like, what do you think about this guy? Like, how's this guy look to you? This kid's played really well for us. Like, what are your thoughts on him? And one of the coaches just looked and he just pointed his pen and he said, that right there worries me. And he was pointing to the kid's GPA. And because it was right around 3.0, and 3.0 is the minimum.
Like, that's the floor.
Yeah. If you don't have a 3.0, bro, good luck. Because you have to have hope. You have to get the Hope Scholarship to go in state to be able to afford college. And players, anybody that's listening, make sure you guys are taking care of your grades. Because if you don't have a 3.0, you're not going to get the Hope Scholarship, because the Hope Scholarship pays for your tuition. Like, it pays for a massive portion of your college fees. And what we're talking about is the difference between you having to take out student loans versus you not having to do that. You don't want student loans. They're bad. That means you're in debt for the rest of your life, potentially. And so you have to maintain grades in order to get your college paid for and make it affordable for you, and if you're lucky, for your family, your parents, if they can contribute as well. But some of you guys, it might be on you at the end of the day. And so that's why, excuse me, it's so important to make sure your GPA stays up. A couple other things we already talked about is the college coaches mentioned email and Twitter. And one of the things that I think it was Coach Simons, the Covenant coach, said that I really liked is not being a wide-eyed freshman. Talk about that a little bit, Josh.
Yeah, so he says basically he wants guys that come in and they act like they belong. They have some moxie about them. They have a swagger about them. They get in the box and they bring that same mentality that they likely had when they were seniors in high school, when they were big dogs on campus, and they bring that same attitude as a freshman in college. And not that you don't know your place, right? But it's that you play in a way that says, hey, I belong here. Like, I know that I'm good enough to play with some of these guys that are already old enough to drink, right? So that's a funny way to think about it. And Going back to, the personal anecdote, when I first got on campus, I was like kind of that wide-eyed freshman, right? Because I was like, wait a minute, these guys are way bigger than me. And then as we started playing more, then I was like, oh no, like,
I belong here.
I belong here. Yeah. And then
sure.
I worked my way in the starting lineup on opening day because I eventually, figured it out. And it's a lot. I'm not going to.
No, it is.
Not going to lie to you. When you first go to college, you're away from your parents. There's a lot of things that you have to figure out. Like mom and dad aren't going to be there to be like, hey, did you get your homework done? It's on you. You got to do your laundry.
Yeah.
I
remember I put the wrong soap in the dishwasher. I didn't know how to load the dishwasher. I wasn't.
Oh, and the
yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
That's classic.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into it.
But like getting on campus, and really, you're going to have to deal with all that and you'll eventually get into the swing of things. And then baseball, that should be like your outlet. That should be the place where you're like, no, this is home. I've been doing this forever. This is my game. And it's like, yeah, I'm new on campus. I'm new to this team, but let me just go out there and play. Like, this is my outlet. Like, I don't have to worry about school out here. I don't have to worry about putting the wrong soap into the dishwasher. Yeah. Like that's your area to thrive. And, the coach from Covenant made a really good point. It's like, hey, if I recruited you, it's because I thought you were good enough to come here.
To belong here.
Yeah, and play day one. And that's what a lot of the other coaches said too. They were like, hey, we're not looking for guys that are going to come onto campus and, sit and redshirt. Like, we don't recruit people with that in mind. We recruit people we're like, hey, like this guy could potentially come in and earn a starting job like today with our current roster the way it is. And so with that in mind, don't be, scared. Go in there and act like you belong because you do belong. Like they affirmed it when they offered you the scholarship, when they brought you onto their team. So
that's right. Very cool. Well, we'll finish up the recruiting segment with that. Some great advice. Great advice. I said that weird. Great advice coming from our coaches and from some of the college coaches we had at Scout Day. So a lot of cool stuff going on program wide, a lot of great, tips and pointers for our guys. And that's why we're here, folks. That's why we do it. Josh has made his pick, Murray State.
Yep. Let's get into our College World Series picks. So, I'm riding with Murray State because I'm a sucker for the underdog story. I feel like, smaller guy. I've been underdog all my life, so I just can't help it.
Yep. So let's do a recap. We got Arizona.
Yeah, I got it right here, buddy.
Oh, look at that.
Dude, yeah.
Beautiful. Arizona, Coastal Carolina, Louisville, Oregon State, UCLA, LSU, Arkansas, and the last team in
is Murray State.
I love it. Omaha's the best.
Yes. I actually got a chance to drive by. Trent and I went out to Lincoln to film a World War II vet, but we flew into Omaha, drove right past the stadium, and it was so cool. Just energy. And it's actually crazy that a college actually uses that as their home field all year. I forgot what college it is. It's like maybe like an NAIA school or something like that.
It is. It's a smaller school. I can't remember. It's like the University of Omaha.
Yeah, but how sick is that to have that as your home stadium?
Yeah, it's awesome.
And then that's like the mecca of D1 college baseball. Pretty cool. But yeah, you have, heavy hitters, guys that have been there before, like LSU. Can never count them out. Like, winners win. Like, that's a saying for a reason. And push come to shove, you can't really bet against them because it's like they've been there before. Same with UCLA. They've been there a lot. Oregon State has been a team has put together some really good squads over the last couple of years. But my heart's got to go with Murray State. Just being that underdog, got to go with them.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, if you're just going based off of the rankings, Arkansas is ranked third. Interesting that we got number 1 and number 2 knocked out early in the regionals and super regionals. But Arkansas is number 3. You've got Oregon State as number 8 and LSU as number 6. And UCLA is number 15 ranked team in the land. So those are your ranked teams coming into this. But for me, man, guy who played in the Sun Belt, I got to go with the Chanticleers, man. Coastal Carolina.
Yeah,
that's my team.
There you go.
Their coach had an interview today where it was awesome, dude. He was like, let me be really clear.
Yeah.
We are not underdogs. They've won 23 games in a row.
Yeah.
They swept like their last 7 series of the
Bro,
season.
like when you're hot, you're just hot.
Dude, those guys
It's
are
unbelievable.
on fire,
Yeah.
bro. They haven't lost a game in 23 games.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah.
I'm going with Coastal, bro.
No,
Those
yeah.
guys are sick.
You can't count them out too. That's another team that's sneakily always in the mix.
Dude,
right?
yeah,
You know?
that's what their coach was saying. He was
Yeah.
like, over the last few years, like they were like 6th in the country
Mhm.
in wins. Like, you know, they're
Yeah.
not one of those programs where historically they're like top
like Power
25,
5, but like
but
they've
dude,
been
they're
playing like
always
it.
good.
Yeah.
Every year we played them, man, they were always good.
Yeah.
So shout out to the Chants, man.
And they
got
get to play like on the beach.
Dude,
there
yeah,
in
their
Myrtle
stadium's
Beach, so
awesome. I
it's
remember
cool.
guys paratrooping down on Friday night.
That's so
Yeah,
sick.
dude. Yeah. Coastal
That is so
Carolina's kinda
sick.
nasty.
But yes, this is in regards to the Murray State game. He said,
Well, that's in regards to the Florida State game.
"Oh, Florida State
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Oh yeah." He
Tallahassee
said,
guy,
"He
he's
said, yeah,
Florida
yeah."
State
Hey,
guy.
and I was rooting for Florida State because I love Gage Harrelson,
Mhm.
who's a local guy. Known him since he was running around in diapers at Warner Robins American Little League.
That's right.
So, and he had a good season for him too. So I was really rooting for them, but yeah, they went out sad, unfortunately. But yes, let's see. TJ's got a couple things. He said, one, I love the slide from Duke that game. Not dirty, but glad Murray State won. I know he meant to say Murray State. What a game. Watch how much Coastal Carolina bunts and plays small ball. It's awesome. Like we were saying, like you cause havoc, it works. It just works. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's always fun too because these teams get to Omaha, and a lot of times these teams have been live or die by the long ball all year, and then they get to Omaha and that park plays bigger, and so the small ball comes out in Omaha.
It has to, because
There's a
they're
lot
like
of
because the margins are so thin that getting one run means everything.
That's right.
Like it just means everything. And so you do whatever it takes, because again, like you put a bunt on the ground, it could be a routine play. Guy just grenades it into right field, throw me a triple,
That's
and
2 runs.
two
Boom.
runs right there. And runs right at a premium already. Yes, Jacob. Gage was clutch in that series. Yeah, Gage is just a
He
dog,
was. Game
bro.
2 had that big RBI knock
Yeah,
late.
he's just a dog. I love that guy.
Fun to watch. I gave him hitting lessons.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
Love that.
and his coach, or his dad, was one of our coaches at Hoko for a year or two as well. So
Yep.
good family. I think his sister, Lacey, I think that's her name. JC, that's right. Is playing at Jacksonville. Is it Jacksonville State? I think it's called Jacksonville State.
She's at Jacksonville
University. Yeah, the
Jacksonville
Green
University.
School.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dolphins.
Go Fins. So
Last chance. We got about 3 minutes. Ask us any questions. Anybody in the comments wants to ask us a question on the way out. That's going to be about it for us. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We're down to 17 people. We got up to about 30, so not bad.
Yeah, my
Y'all
goal is like 40, 45.
Tell your friends
so.
about the podcast.
Yeah.
Josh is doing some electric stuff. We're opening baseball cards. We're talking Profilytics. Nobody does it better than this guy sitting across from me.
Guys.
Push the button to clap for yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. Hey guys, when I tell you you're not gonna want to miss this Profilytics show, it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be insane. I'm trying to make it as like ESPN analytic breakdown as possible, and make it like an actual show. Get some comments from different coaches about certain guys that we can play, so that not necessarily live, but just like, hey, we're breaking down this guy right now. Hey, what's this coach got to say about him? So I'm trying to do that, because not only will it add to just the value of the program, but kids get to learn, and it's just cool. Like who's doing this? So that's what we're all about here. It's just providing you with first-class experiences that you're not going to get anywhere else. So, yes.
We got one question. Big Q wants to know, did FSU coaches lose the game in the first inning by not pulling the pitcher? I didn't watch that game until like the 3rd inning, so I can't answer that.
Yes. So
they put up like Oregon put up like 7 in the first. I did see that or something. They gave up a touchdown in the first inning, and it was really stinky because Florida State ended up scoring 10. I think they lost 10-14.
That's insane.
Jacob Gray said, no, I don't know what happened. That didn't look like Wes from Tally. OSU just had a crazy first. So maybe Jacob could answer that question.
I mean, yeah, sometimes when guys are hitting, it doesn't matter who you
can't
throw
stop
out there. It's just like,
I do. I'm trying to remember if I don't think I was watching that game in the first. I think they had like 2 or 3 long balls. Like they were just teeing off.
They were just, yeah. Sometimes it's just, can't stop the hit train.
That's right.
And
hopefully we'll have a hit train this weekend. Hopefully stars will be hot. Schedules are out. If anybody's still watching, I know you're not. I meant to say this earlier. Make sure your player has a PG profile with their 2025 PG waiver signed so they can play.
Yes. The last thing I will say for any players watching, stats are updated. So if you want your stats, I will put this in the group tomorrow as well when I send photos. So if you want your stats, just reach out to me and I will send you stats. I've had several guys reach out and I send them a little screenshot of their stats and they've been keeping up. Jacob Gray is one of them that always ask.
Love it.
And that's why he's been able to be successful because he's, tracking his metrics, seeing where he is, where he can improve. And then also last thing I will say, photos. Took over 2,000 photos at Scout Day, plus videos. So I'm going through those. Hope to have them done tomorrow. I also have, the photos from the previous events, took some at each of the tournaments at, some of the games, and then inter squad photos as well. So hope to have most of those, if not all of them, uploaded by tomorrow, but I will send a link out for guys to start going through pictures. And so you guys can post them. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yep.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Until next time.
Yep. Look for that Proflytics update. We'll let you know when that show will be going live. But yeah, until next time, y'all be blessed. Have a really good night.
Sick.